Lakers Canal 2 Party 1. Hello everyone, let's have more news about the Lakers, but first don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. ESPN's Shams Charania predicts craziest NBA offseason could be coming. The NBA has become well known and popular due to its unpredictability, and each season there always seems to be a move or two that comes completely out of nowhere. For example, this past trade deadline will go down as the wildest and most dramatic in league history as the Dallas Mavericks traded Luka Doncic to the Los Angeles Lakers. It's incredibly rare for a team to trade a superstar as they're about to hit their prime, and that might not be the only seismic move that happens this calendar year. Due to the new CBA and the timelines of certain franchises, there could be much more player movement than expected. Even Lakers president of basketball operations, Rob Pelinka, believes there will be a lot of transactions once the offseason rolls around. NBA insiders like ESPN's Shams Charania figure to be busy this summer with all the rumors, and he himself is predicting that this offseason could be unlike anything the league has seen via the Pat McAfee show. Pat, this is the most, I think, anticipation team executives have had over an offseason. I think this is going to be the craziest offseason. I don't want to say of all time. We just came off a trade deadline that was the craziest of all time. I think this offseason might be the most craziest ever. Charania has been the primary newsbreaker for most of the news and rumors in the league, and so to hear him say he expects this to be a crazy offseason speaks volumes. There is likely already a lot of trade and free agency chatter going on as teams prepare for the upcoming 2025 NBA draft, so it's reasonable to expect a flurry of moves to happen in short order. Now let's go to another video. Don't forget to leave a like. Lakers Canal.
On the Pat McAfee show, LeBron James is likely to opt in to his $52.6 million player option. Now, this is critical because, number one, LeBron could opt out and get a bigger contract, but he's not going to do that. Sounds like he's just going to opt into the $52.6 million. First and foremost, what this means for the Lakers is that LeBron James will be continuing his career. Assuming he opts in, that means LeBron James is going to play another season and he is not retiring. Now, maybe that's not unexpected. I think most assume that he will continue playing. Was still one of the best players in the NBA, second team All NBA this year, was sixth in MVP voting despite being 40 years old. Absolutely incredible stuff from LeBron James. He'll be turning 41 next season, and questions continue to mount about just how much longer he's going to play. Well, picking up that $52.6 million option would tell you he's playing at least one more year. And I think that is a good thing for the Lakers. I know there's people out there that say, well, no, they need to move on from LeBron, build the team fully around Luka, and do that. But as I've gone over many times, losing LeBron James, LeBron not picking up his option and just walking away in free agency, or say retiring, would not open up any additional spending power for the Lakers, or at least any significant spending power for the Los Angeles Lakers. If you were to walk away, you're probably looking at like 14-ish million, 15, 16 million, somewhere in there that the Lakers would actually have to spend in free agency because they're so far over the cap already. So no, LeBron walking away would not mean the Lakers would suddenly get $52.6 million to go spend out there on the market. But LeBron opting in to $52.6 million isn't all good. I do think it is a positive thing overall for the Lakers, assuming LeBron opts in. Again, he could opt out and get a little bit more money. So this could give them a little bit of flexibility. And the fact that he's going to be playing next season, I think that it would be a good thing as well for the Lakers. I don't see a legitimate path for the Lakers to lose LeBron James this summer and get better. Now, next summer, I think you could make a legitimate argument because right now, and we'll see how things look after this summer, but next summer, as things are structured currently, the Lakers actually have a lot of flexibility. You've got a lot of contracts coming off the books. Rui Hachimura, Dorian Finney-Smith, maybe. Again, he could pick up a player option, maybe get a new deal from the Lakers this summer. That could certainly change. Austin Reeves is expected to opt out of that player option. We'll see where that goes. The Lakers will offer him an extension this summer, though he's not expected to pick that up. Maxi Kleber, Gabe Vincent, these guys will be off the books. Some of these salaries, Shake Milton will be gone by that. I think he's going to be gone this summer. They'll probably just waive him. So you've got a lot more flexibility coming up in 2026. And that's where you could say, hey, the Lakers, maybe they go the cap space route. But for this year specifically, I don't see an obvious path for the Lakers to get better while losing LeBron James, unless there was some like unexpected trade that came up. And him opting in would actually not eliminate that possibility. Opting into 52.6 million, he could, in theory, of course, opt in and then tell the Lakers, please trade me to team X. Now, remember, opting in would mean that his no trade clause would continue to exist. And so he would be able to veto any trade. Not that that's the path I'm expecting them to go down. I think LeBron will be a Laker next season. He opts in. It's not going to be to go play for another team. He's going to be a Laker just purely hypothetically. He could opt in and then ask to be traded. But once again, with the no trade clause, he could veto any trade to any team that he didn't want to go to, which I think would severely hamper the return that the Lakers would get should they decide to move on from LeBron James, or should he really decide that he wanted to move on from the Los Angeles Lakers via the trade front. But again, that's not the path we're expecting to go down. Most likely, LeBron opting in, he's going to play for the Los Angeles Lakers. The downside, and as I'm going to break down in a few days, I'm going to take a look at what if LeBron does take less. Him opting in would mean that he did not take less money, which in a nutshell would limit the Lakers' ability to go spend out there in free agency or potentially even make moves on the trade market. If LeBron James were to take less, that could open up the mid-level exception. That could potentially open up a biannual exception. The mid-level will be at about $14.1 million this season, and the biannual is going to be at about $5.1 million this season. So if LeBron were to take a really hefty pay cut, we're talking $20 to $25 million, somewhere in that range, you could open up some significant spending power for the Los Angeles Lakers. But that said, there's not a lot of guys out there in free agency right now either. Now, you could use that mid-level exception as a trade exception and actually absorb a salary via trade. That's another thing that you can do under the new CBA with that full $14.1 million mid-level exception. But again, that would require LeBron James to take less money in order to keep the Lakers clear of that first apron hard cap. And I'll go further in depth into all of those concepts in a couple of days when that video drops, and you'll see really what could be available for the Lakers should LeBron take less. But since it looks like he is not, what that would most likely mean is for spending power out there in free agency, the Lakers would be limited to the taxpayer mid-level exception, which is going to come in right about $5.6 million. And you can see some of the players that are out there on the free agent market this summer. It's not a very deep free agent pool. Most of the names that might grab your attention are either going to be sticking with their teams, picking up their player option. Certainly Chris Middleton's going to pick up $34 million. Julius Randle probably either picks up that $31 million player option or negotiates a new deal with the Wolves. He's been pretty good in the playoffs, with the exception of last night's game against the Thunder. John Collins is going to pick up that $26.6 million option. He's probably a ceiling of a 14 of a mid-level exception guy. So you're not going to give up 26.6 to take 14 million. But with that $5.6 million, you can maybe look at a player like a Brook Lopez, Clint Capella, Bruce Brown, Malcolm Brogdon. I don't know for sure that you get any of those guys. One of the things to keep in mind is that teams that have the mid-level exception available, which again, if LeBron picks up his player option, the Lakers will not have the mid-level exception available unless some other dramatic things happen with the roster that we're not anticipating. But teams that do have the mid-level exception, as I said, you can actually use that as a trade exception now, and you can do so during the regular season. So just because there's teams out there, a number of teams that have 14.1 million in money to go spend with the full mid-level exception, that doesn't mean they're all going to use it. So we could be closer to comparing apples to apples when we talk about the spending power of the Lakers at 5.6 million. It may not be as daunting of a number as it appears, because the teams that do have access to the full 14.1 million, not all of them are even going to use that. So that 5.6 million that the Lakers will have access to with that taxpayer mid-level may actually be pretty competitive compared to what most of the NBA is going to be able or willing to go spend out there on the market. But here's some of the guys, again, that they could potentially target. Some of these guys might get full mid-level exception deals, but there's some other guys. Our old friend Dennis Schroeder, Steven Adams, Bobby Portis probably just picks up that player option unless somebody gives him a full MLE. Matisse Thybulle probably picks up that option at $11.6 million. A guy I like a lot, DeAnthony Melton, is out there. Could he be had for one of those numbers? Al Horford, probably going to leave the Boston Celtics because they're going to be trying to shed salary and turn around their team. Particularly with Jason Tatum out, unfortunately, for most of next season. Gary Payton II is a defensive guard that's out there. Gary Trent Jr., maybe somebody the Lakers could look at as well, somebody they've had interest in the past. So there's some names out there, but is there that whoa, they got that guy, difference maker type out there on the market. Not necessarily. And that could be a factor too with LeBron's decision. If you were to take less money and the Lakers say, cool, we're going to get you, say, 3 guys with that pay cut that you took. We're going to get, say, 3 guys that all don't really move the needle much. LeBron might be left saying, well, I should have just taken the max money rather than taking the pay cut. So that's where things stand currently. If this report is accurate and Shams Charania is right and LeBron James does indeed opt into that $52.6 million player option, the bottom line is for the Lakers, it almost certainly locks in their biggest weapon in free agency to being that $5.6 million taxpayer mid-level exception that they would have to go spend. Everything after that would have to be veteran minimum deals. So again, the good news, LeBron would be back for another season. I think this is a positive for the Los Angeles Lakers. Certainly financially, revenue-wise, it is absolutely a positive, but I believe it's a positive on the floor as well. And then the downside being that it would not open up the additional spending power that a LeBron pay cut would have offered. And once again, be on the look.
They're going to happen between him, the Lakers, seeing what this team looks like. Because listen, LeBron James, whether he plays one more season or a few more seasons, he wants to be in a competitive environment. And I said it on our when I came on when their season ended. He's probably going to opt in because the option is so big, and then that gives you flexibility to figure out, do you extend off that number, or if this is the final year, if this is the last hurrah, essentially, year 23. For number 23, they have All-Star Weekend in Los Angeles. So, to me, it's very storybook if that's the way it goes. Yeah. But that's a decision that he's got to make. The big question for the Lakers, though, are they going to find a center, a true center? And I think Rob Pelinka, the president general manager, that's his biggest focus of the offseason. They didn't go and get the Mark Williams trade. There was obviously a lot of controversy about that. This summer, their number one objective is going and getting a center, replenishing their depth on the wings, and then seeing how does LeBron James, how do Luka Doncic feel about that roster moving forward.
Okay, let's stick with the Lakers, and obviously whatever LeBron does, we'll be pumped about. He blessed us with the LeBron versation, and we'll always back him. 23 years good, 26 years better, whatever the hell he wants to do. Good luck over there in L.A. If he wants to come to Indiana, he said Tyrese Halliburton's a guy he'd love to play with. Yeah. I saw it.
I will say this. The Lakers, there's a decision, not a decision, but they've got some conversations internally because LeBron James has been there since 2019, 2020.
Oh, don't get it wrong,
He's been there
Sean.
for 6-7 seasons. So, and he's won a championship there. He's been to the Western Conference Finals another time there. He's brought you some success there at a point where they were really at their lowest when they got him. They weren't really competing for championships, but you have him. You do right and try to restructure the team, try to involve him in your decision-making, but then you also have this player, Luka Doncic.
On that note, Tone has a question for you.
That's going to be the face of your franchise. How do you handle? That's going to be a big challenge for them.
Yeah, everybody's talking about on the court, but off the court, too, massive conversations.
I don't know if you saw Luka this weekend. He was looking fit AF. Yeah, and I'm not saying he doesn't normally, but your Wegovy's, your Manjaros, your Ozempic, your semaglutides, is that on the NBA banned substance list, or is this is just hard work from Luka? And why is it just talked about so much?
You know what? I actually looked into the Ozempic thing about a couple of years ago. I was told I don't think it is. So if that's wrong, I'm gonna have to go back and look this up. But it wasn't then. Zion looks in amazing shape.
Yeah,
we see Luka Doncic. But, this is off-season, right? So, these guys, clearly they're putting the work in. I saw the pictures of Luka Doncic. I have not seen him, so I can't.
You're thinking it was angles?
I did see Zion Williamson.
The fact he's wearing a white T-shirt in public would tell me he doesn't think he has a gut.
I did see Zion Williamson at the draft lottery, and he looks slender. He looks amazing as well.
Zion?
Whatever.
Maybe he should come to Indiana.
Whatever they're doing in abroad in Slovenia, wherever Luka Doncic is right now, clearly he's putting in the work. But I think that was part of the big conversation with J.J. Redick, and you have Luka Doncic, their relationship. J.J. Redick's the type of coach that can tell Luka Doncic, listen, we need you to be in the best possible shape.
To be fat.
We need everyone on this roster to be in the best possible shape. J.J. Redick said after the season, we were not the best conditioned we could be. Now, whether that's something toward Luka, whether that's something toward 4 or 5 other players on the team, but clearly it was something he wanted to get across. I'm sure he's gotten that across.
Well, Nico said, me and nutritionist said this guy's never going to learn. So it'd be nice if Luka came back absolutely ripped and jocked.
A guy like Luka Doncic, 5 All-NBA teams every single year, All-Star every single year. He's one of the best players in the world. You don't get to that stage without putting in a ton of work. You don't get to that stage without working on your body. You don't get to that stage besides all that. I will say, like Zion Williamson, when there's those calf injuries, anything lower body, it does impact how you condition. So hopefully Luka Doncic, the big thing for him is staying healthy on the floor.
Yeah, good luck, Luka. We're pulling for you, Luka.
Food is healthier over there, too.
Yeah, because they don't have all the dyes and stuff.
Yeah, they're not trying to kill them.
Every once in a while, a video will pop up on my algo, and I'll say, what have I been eating? That's like whenever you learn about a company that you use through another company's commercial.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we're not like insert name of other banks and do all this stuff to you. We don't do that. I'm like, is my bank doing that? I need to have a conversation. That's kind of what happens here in this situation.
Yeah, without doubt. Not to mention all the artificial sweeteners we got over
True.
here. You know, they're not dealing with that over there. They're just smoking cigarettes from the time they're.
Yeah, he's smoking hookah straight up.
Exactly.
Which helps.
Exactly.
No
It does.
filters.
Yeah, and I love that. Good for them. And Luka's earned the right to enjoy his life.
Yeah.
And if he feels like he's in the best shape he could possibly be, good for him. We're here in Indianapolis, Indiana for Game 4 tonight of the Eastern Conference Finals.
Hell yeah.
This is a really cool part of town. We're kind of nestled downtown here. People fill in the steps. We got people up here. We got a beautiful mural. It's gorgeous. I've never really hung out here, to be clear.
No.
Never really seen this area. Whenever they offered this space up for the show, I said, I don't know what you're talking about. Then they sent photos. Look at the arch here. I don't know. That's art of some sort.
Oh, yeah.
That's some sort
Bigger
of
than the
art.
St. Louis
How
one.
long's that been
Yeah.
here?
I think it's just been a couple years, bro.
Gateway to the West. They
Yeah, they
call
made
it.
this whole entire thing 2 summers ago, I think.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's
Indiana's a
wonderful.
soft place in my heart. This is where I first started covering games. Here in Milwaukee, the Bulls, I was not able to cover games with the Bulls. I was a college kid, high school kid. They didn't want to credential me. Find people here. They didn't sue me. They gave me credentials. Milwaukee gave me credentials. So I'm very fortunate to you always need that opportunity to get through the door.
Yeah, we love having you here in Indianapolis. How do you think tonight goes?
I
Make
think,
a pick.
Yeah.
Take a pick, Shams.
I think whoever wins this game wins the series.
That's not a pick.
That's the pick.
Coward.
That's
That's what they said. They said you're a coward.
But
This guy
but-
just got off
but I
work.
will say-
He's got his shit kickers on.
I will
this
say-
guy came all the way down here to listen to you talk.
the
You gave him that bullshit.
The Pacers have not lost
Yes,
a game
sirs.
outside of Game 3s, so they are in good pole position tonight going into this game.
Oh, 8500
Oh, wow.
reference. Wow.
Pole position.
All right, we appreciate you. We'll talk to you in the next hour or two. You hang out for a bit?
I'm here.
Ladies and gentlemen, senior NBA insider for ESPN, friend of the program. We remember when he was just young lads starting out.
I was
yeah.
in the spaceship.
Still is. Ladies and
Final 2 Parte 2. Following their first round elimination from the playoffs, the Miami Heat are expected to be busy in the offseason. Pat Riley is likely going to make multiple moves to improve the current team. However, the Heat could also look to move on from some of the current roster. As such, it's likely we see some outgoings as well as some incoming. In a recent episode of his Buha's Block podcast, The Athletic's Jovan Buha noted that Andrew Wiggins could be a strong addition for the Los Angeles Lakers. I think Wiggins, if the Lakers are looking to address the wing need on the trade market, Wiggins is a guy that I like a lot, and you can get there probably with some base of Rui plus matching salary, Buha said. Like for me, any trade where the Lakers can add a rotation player and not give up one of their top 6, I would say like the line for me starts at Gabe, where I'd be willing to give him up for an upgrade. So I have not heard specifically Wiggins, but he is the type of target that would make sense for them. Wiggins joined the Heat as part of the Jimmy Butler trade. Nevertheless, Miami will likely be open to trade negotiations. Riley must find a way to construct a well-balanced roster, even if that means trading away a high-level defender such as Wiggins. While Wiggins could emerge as a trade target for the Lakers or other contending teams, the Heat may be looking to add a veteran ball handler. The point guard position has been problematic for Miami, dating back to 2021 when Goran Dragic left the franchise. Bailey Bassett of Clutch Points has cited Russell Westbrook as a potential target for the Heat once he becomes available. Nobody would question Westbrook's hustle, work ethic, or competitiveness, Bassett wrote. And you, fan, what do you think about Andrew Wiggins' situation? Leave your opinion in the comments. Warriors can